Hi, I'm Stu from HiveMind Automation and welcome back to the Hive. In this video, we'll be taking a look at this Ecovacs Deebot X1 Plus, and I'll explain a little bit more about why after the intro. The setup is the same as the T10 Plus that we reviewed a few weeks ago, so I'll speed through all of that. And we'll look at the differences between the T10 and the X1 Plus. And I covered off the connection to Home Assistant in the previous video as well. So this hopefully will be a significantly shorter video. So while I roll the intro, why don't you take a moment to subscribe? And if you hit the bell icon, you'll get notified when I release new videos each week. While you're at it, if you like what I do here and you want to support the channel, there's affiliate links to smart home gadgets that you can buy for your own smart home and support the channel at the same time. There's also a link to our newest affiliate partner, Skillshare, where you can learn at your own pace from passionate and skilled professionals across thousands of classes in many different fields, including graphic design, illustration, photo, video, and animation, and many, many more, including technology. Or you can support the channel directly through my Buy Me a Coffee link. Of course, those affiliate links and my Buy Me a Coffee link are also available on my website, hivemindautomation.com.au. With all of that out of the way, let's get started. So a few weeks ago, I put out an epically long video review of the Ecovacs Deebot T10 Plus. Over an hour, I think it was. And if you managed to watch the whole thing, you'll know that we had a couple of issues with it kind of spinning around and one of the wheels not driving properly, in some cases not driving at all. And that started happening only 4 days into its life with us. We did notice before it completely failed that it seemed to struggle climbing the edges of some of our thicker rugs, but we didn't really think anything of it until we saw the problem where it was turning around in circles and struggling to map things. The T10 Plus, as I mentioned, also struggled to map the house properly, and that's possibly because of that wonky wheel. So we got in touch with Ecovacs support, and the initial contact seemed promising, with them sending us an email asking for a video of the fault and details of the invoice, etc. Now, the video of the fault, I actually used that in the video that we published a couple of weeks ago, so you would have already seen the footage that we sent off to Ecovacs. They sent us an Australia Post return label, and we took it back to our local post office to send it back. It took a little bit less than a week to get the delivery confirmation from Australia Post because they do have a service centre in Victoria. But it was pretty much radio silence from Ecovacs for a couple of days after that. We sent them an email which didn't really get a reply, and when you call their contact centre, their inbound recording goes silent after a few minutes on hold, making you think that you've been disconnected. So you just got to wait that out, and once you get onto a customer service rep, we were told that they were still waiting for the service centre to mark the receipt of the unit as confirmed. We had a proof of delivery from Australia Post, so it was a little bit strange that they hadn't managed to mark it as returned. Now, this was a Friday, so it seemed reasonable that maybe it arrived late in the day and they hadn't had the opportunity to unpack it and mark everything off. The following week, we called back and were told that the service centre had received the return and we should be receiving the replacement within about a week or so. A week and a half later, we still didn't have a tracking notification for the new device, and we'd heard nothing at all from Ecovacs. So another call to, at this point, their rather ineffectual contact centre. We were told that they were still waiting on confirmation that the service centre had received the unit, but we would been told previously that they had received the unit and it was marked as received. We were also told on that third call or fourth call at this point, I've lost track, that the model that we returned wasn't available and it wasn't in stock. So they were waiting for stock to arrive to then dispatch the replacement. And at no point previously had we been told that they didn't have stock of our particular model to then replace it with. We were just told to expect a replacement within a week. Now, at this point, we're 3.5, nearly 4 weeks into not having the not exactly cheap robot. And it wasn't exactly what we wanted to hear, that we would have to continue waiting for the replacement. So understandably, the tone of the conversation changed somewhat. The phone representative was unable to issue a refund because they apparently were unable to confirm the receipt of the unit. Again, we'd already been told previously that they'd received it, and we had our proof of delivery from Australia Post. We asked to speak to their supervisor, only to be told that that was not possible and that they would raise an escalation to their web team to request a callback. Now, they mentioned a web team, so we decided to try their website and see if they had a live chat function, which they do have a live chat function. Now, I mentioned before a callback as well, and that phone rep had raised an escalation. We've not yet received that callback, and this is several days later, I might add. Thankfully, however, with the live chat, we were able to get through to a chat agent who was able to confirm that the service center had received the return and arrange for the issue of a full refund, which only took a couple of days to process. We had this call on Wednesday of this week, and the refund was back in our account by Friday. Now, there's still reasons why we bought this robot in the first place. So the next step was actually what we probably should have done in the first place, instead of buying directly from Ecovacs. We found a bricks and mortar retail store nearby that had Ecovacs robots in stock and ended up ordering an X1 Plus for a little bit more than what the T10 Plus is available for. The X1 Plus is $1,299 from the Good Guys, with the obvious benefit that if this one has any technical difficulties, we can take it back to the Good Guys for replacement or refund, instead of having to deal with the, in my opinion at this point, completely useless Ecovacs support contact center. The X1 Plus also has stronger suction at 5,000 pascals versus 3,000 for the T10 Plus, which, if we take a look at the Ecovacs website here, they have a handy comparison function, and where we can either compare all or use this handy only compare difference function, where it shows us that the difference is 5,000 pascals versus 3,000. And it also suggests that the box contents, instead of an auto empty station, we just get an empty station on the X1 Plus, but I'm unclear what the difference is because it's automatic anyway. So I suspect that the increased suction is certainly where the additional cost goes. If we look at the X1 Plus website as well, you'll also notice that the X1 Plus has a sleeker kind of black and silver design, which fits better into our aesthetic here anyway. It's stated here on their website as well that one of the features is an exquisite customized design by Jacob Jensen Design, crafted with precision. So from what we can see, both on the comparison website and using our eyes, the design and the suction are the only differences between the two devices, with the rest of the features being pretty much identical, with even the physical dimensions of the devices being identical, even down to the dimensions of the empty station. The unboxing and pairing went exactly the same as the T10 Plus, and the native app still looks exactly the same as well. So being that the operation of the devices is pretty much the same between both of them, if you haven't already watched the other video, I do recommend you go and do that, because we go into a much deeper dive of how to pair the unit and also how to add the Deebot into Home Assistant. The Home Assistant setup is exactly the same here, and we'll take a quick look at that now. Something I have noticed with the Home Assistant setup of the X1 Plus at least, and again, I think this might be a little bit more to do with the fact that our mapping is a little bit better. The map seems a little bit more complete. That's also because we've run a couple of cleanings and we can see where the robot has been during the cleaning, and it's mostly down the hallway. Unfortunately, the map is a little bit skewed and it doesn't look the same as the map that we have in the app. So I'm still a little bit disappointed with the way that it handles the map in Home Assistant, but it's at least there, and it kind of gives me a reasonable idea of what's going on, and I can see where the robot is. So that's the Ecovacs Deebot X1 Plus. We've learned some pretty valuable lessons with the Ecovacs robots, and firstly, it seems that we need to research more before purchasing expensive items from companies that we're not super familiar with, specifically around their after-sales service. After our bad experience, we noticed some similar stories on the Ecovacs social media sites and even in some of the reviews on those sites. Thankfully, however, their product reviews remained mostly positive. So the issue does not appear to be with the hardware, it seems to be with the organization itself. Secondly, we've decided that it might be wise to consider purchasing our bigger ticket items like robot vacuums from reputable retailers with a good returns policy. Unless you know for sure that the after-sales service of purchasing directly from the company is exceptional, I would definitely recommend going through either a retail store or somewhere like Amazon, which have a very responsive returns process. We are much happier with the X1 Plus, which had no real trouble mapping the entire house, unlike the T10 Plus, even using the quick mapping feature, which on the T10 Plus was pretty unreliable. And again, I think that's probably because of the funky wheel. The increased suction is definitely a win with a cat in the house. That said though, the battery is the same as the T10. So with that increased suction, I do anticipate that the battery life of this unit might not be as long as the T10. Our house isn't that large though, so I still expect it to be able to complete a full cleaning cycle without too much difficulty. We haven't had much time to test out all of the AI features like object detection and avoidance, but we did also notice in some of the other online reviews that we saw a similar problem that we noticed with the T10, and that is that summoning the AI assistant seems to have had very limited training data. From what we've seen in those online reviews, the online voice assistant seems to only recognize female voices, or if we put on a female voice, and in some cases it may actually also require you to put on a slight accent, which is a little problematic. So for things like the AI object detection and avoidance that we mentioned before, I think that with the robot being able to steer itself a little bit more effectively, it should work better. But because, like the T10, it's still using the camera for object detection and avoidance, it still needs good lighting for that to work. I would have really liked either of them to have included some kind of infrared illumination to assist the camera and make that object detection and avoidance a little bit more effective in low light. At the time of filming, it's only been a couple of days, but so far it's been going pretty strong, and we've not seen any of the, in hindsight, warning signs that we saw with the T10 Plus. So hopefully this one stands the test of time and provides an overall better experience. Let me know your thoughts on the Deebot X1 Plus in the comments section down below. That's all we have for this video, and I do hope that it helped you in your home automation journey and that you're able to learn from our mistakes. Be sure to drop a comment down below with home automation ideas that you'd like to see me cover in a future video, or tell me a story about your worst customer service experience with a smart home manufacturer. Don't forget to follow HiveMind Automation on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button down below to give it a like. If you're not already subscribed, please consider changing that now. And while you're at it, if you hit the bell icon, you'll get a notification when I release new videos each week. Lastly, if you like what I'm doing here and you want to help to support the channel, there's a Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description down below. Contributions that you make through Buy Me a Coffee get put towards making more and hopefully better content for you to enjoy. Don't forget to check out my website as well, hivemindautomation.com.au. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Stu from HiveMind Automation, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.